October 2003. A storm hammers the ancient city of Teotihuacan, Mexico. Rain floods the plaza in front of a pyramid carved with stone serpents. When the water drains, the ground has opened. A sinkhole, barely a meter wide, gapes in the earth. An archaeologist named Sergio Gómez ties a rope around his waist and steps into the dark. The shaft drops nearly 15 meters, a 5-story building straight down into total blackness. At the bottom, his flashlight sweeps across walls no living person has ever seen. This is not a cave, it is a tunnel, perfectly carved, cut by human hands. My first thought was, what exactly am I looking at? Gómez would later recall. He did not know it yet, but he was hanging above a sealed world. The numbers, when they finally come, are staggering. A tunnel 103 meters long, sealed for 1800 years, closed while Rome still ruled the world. More than 50,000 artifacts, walls glittering with fool's gold. And at the far end, pooled silently in the blackness, liquid mercury, inside a city whose kings have never been found. Today we examine the records, 17 years of excavation logs, a robot sent crawling where no human could fit. 3 chambers at the end of the deepest tunnel in Teotihuacan. And the one question they still refuse to answer. Because this city is not just a ruin, it is the greatest missing persons case in the history of archaeology. And the trail begins 2,000 years ago. Teotihuacan rises 40 kilometers northeast of modern Mexico City. At its height, around the year 400, it held 100,000 people or more, one of the largest cities anywhere on the planet. Its builders leveled hills, rerouted a river, and laid out a metropolis on a precise grid covering some 20 square kilometers. Planned, ordered, immense. At its heart stands the Pyramid of the Sun, over 60 meters tall, among the largest structures raised anywhere in the ancient world. A ceremonial road, arrow straight, runs past it for kilometers. The Aztecs would later call it the Avenue of the Dead. But here is the detail the records make clear. The Aztecs never knew this city alive. When Aztec pilgrims found these pyramids centuries later, the city had already been dead and abandoned for roughly 700 years. They found colossal ruins and no memory of who had built them. So they gave the place a name in their own language, Teotihuacan, the place where the gods were created. Even the city's real name is lost. We do not know what these people called themselves. We do not know what language they spoke. They left murals, symbols, painted signs, but no deciphered writing system, no histories, no king lists, no chronicles of victory or defeat. For a civilization that dominated Mesoamerica for centuries, they are, in written terms, almost completely silent. And the silence goes deeper still. Much deeper. Compare the neighbors. Maya cities buried their kings in splendor. Jade masks, carved sarcophagi, names and dates cut into stone. Palenque gave us the tomb of Pacal, but Teotihuacan, a city many times larger, has produced no royal tomb, no named ruler, not one portrait of a king. In over a century of excavation, nothing. That is the anomaly. Which brings us back to the temple of the Feathered Serpent. Its facade bristles with stone serpent heads, jaws open. In the 1980s, archaeologists found something darker beneath and around it. The skeletons of roughly 200 people, many with hands bound behind their backs, sacrificed, arranged like an offering. Whatever this building was, it mattered enormously. Picture the city alive, around the year 200. Smoke rising from thousands of apartment compounds, merchants carrying obsidian blades, shells from 2 oceans, feathers from distant jungles. And beneath the busiest plaza of all, torchlight moving underground, Because the tunnel was already there, dug, the evidence suggests, even before the Great Temple was finished above it. The records establish this much. The tunnel's true entrance lay just meters from the sinkhole, hidden beneath the plaza floor. And it had been deliberately destroyed, choked with earth and boulders so large they could only have been rolled in by teams of workers. Around the year 250, someone closed this passage, methodically, permanently, as if forever. Gómez did not rush in. For roughly 2 years, his team scanned the ground with penetrating radar, tracing the tunnel's path through darkness below. The image that emerged was precise, a straight corridor running from the great plaza called the Ciudadela, directly beneath the temple of the Feathered Serpent, ending in what looked like chambers, dead center under the pyramid. In 2009, the digging finally began. No machine could help them down there. Workers hauled out nearly 1,000 tons of earth and rubble by hand, bucket by bucket, meter by meter, in heat, dust, and thinning air. Progress was measured in centimeters, and the tunnel fought back. Whole sections had been walled off and backfilled, sealed not once, but again and again. That detail unsettled the team. Whoever closed this tunnel had returned, again and again, to make certain it stayed closed. As Gómez put it, whatever was inside was meant to stay hidden forever. Archaeologists rarely find a door locked this many times, and when they do, they ask the obvious question: what were the builders locking away? In 2013, they sent in a machine. Tlaloc 2, a 35-kilogram robot named for the rain god, fitted with an infrared camera and a laser scanner. It crawled beyond the excavation line into air no one had breathed in nearly 2 millennia. And in the darkness ahead, its sensors mapped 3 chambers waiting at the tunnel's end. The robot's cameras also caught something stranger. Scattered across the unexcavated floor lay hundreds of spheres, clay cores coated in jarosite, a mineral left behind when pyrite oxidizes. On the day they were placed there, 18 centuries ago, they would have gleamed like polished gold. Orbs of metallic light arranged in the dark. Their purpose remains unknown. Then the excavators reached the deep sections and understood that the tunnel itself was a built illusion. Its walls and ceiling had been dusted, by hand, with powdered magnetite, hematite, and pyrite, fool's gold. Carry a torch through, and the surfaces ignite with thousands of glittering points overhead. The builders had done something extraordinary. Beneath the earth, in permanent darkness, they had constructed a night sky. And the offerings kept coming. Tens of thousands of catalogued objects. The count passed 50,000 and kept climbing. Jade from as far as Guatemala. Seashells carried from 2 coasts. Rubber balls, obsidian blades, pyrite mirrors, jaguar bones, pottery, seeds, even maize 1,800 years old. And fragments, astonishingly, of human skin. Wealth of an empire, funneled underground. Near the tunnel's end stood 4 sculpted greenstone figures. 2 of them faced the wall, frozen mid-journey, still carrying their bundles. Sacred objects and pyrite mirrors, wrapped as if for travel. Researchers believe they may represent the city's founding ancestors, shaman travelers navigating the underworld. If Teotihuacan has gods with names, they may be standing in this tunnel. 103 meters in, some 17 meters beneath the pyramid's core, the tunnel opens into a cross-shaped ending. 3 chambers, arranged like a cosmic map. This is the place the radar had promised for a decade, the place the boulders guarded, the place the offerings pointed toward. In April 2015, Gómez's team announced what they had found there. It made headlines around the world. Liquid mercury, not traces, large quantities, pooled in the chamber at the tunnel's deepest point. "It's something that completely surprised us," Gómez told Reuters. Silver liquid, heavier than iron, shimmering exactly as it had on the day the tunnel was sealed. Because mercury does not evaporate in a sealed chamber. It does not rot. It does not decay. It simply waits. Understand what this required. Mercury does not pool naturally in the earth. It must be made by roasting cinnabar, a blood-red ore, and condensing the vapor. That vapor attacks the brain, the lungs, the body. Workers almost certainly sickened producing it, drop by drop, over years. This substance was a treasure, and it was paid for in lives. And they used it to build a world. Inside the chamber, 17 meters underground, the team uncovered a miniature landscape, tiny mountains sculpted in clay, and in the valleys between them, pools of mercury forming little silver lakes, a model of the cosmos, or of the underworld itself. Its rivers rendered in liquid metal that mirrors torchlight like water, water that never ripples. In Mesoamerican belief, the watery underworld was the realm of creation, of ancestors, of the dead, of power itself. Mercury's mirror surface may have marked the boundary between worlds. Look down, and reality stares back, inverted. Gómez himself suggested the mercury symbolized an underworld river or lake, which means the tunnel was never storage. It was a map, a scale model of the world below the world. And everywhere mercury appears in the ancient world, it appears near power. That is why the announcement electrified archaeology. Rich offerings, a sealed approach, liquid mercury guarding the deepest point beneath the temple. Every signal pointed in one direction, that somewhere in or beyond those three chambers lay the one thing Teotihuacan had never yielded: a royal tomb. Here is what the records show next, and it is the part nobody predicted. The chambers held tens of thousands of offerings. They held the greenstone figures, the mercury, the glittering walls, the golden spheres. But no sarcophagus, no royal skeleton laid out in jade, no name. More than 2 decades after the sinkhole opened, the tomb of a Teotihuacan king has never been found, anywhere. It may still exist. Beneath the chamber floors, surveys detected filled-in hollows, buried subchambers that remain unexcavated, and the material already recovered could consume entire careers. Gómez once estimated the restoration work was only about 10% complete. The records, in other words, are still open. The deepest pages have simply not been read yet. Or perhaps the tomb was never there, because the god-king was never there. Some scholars argue Teotihuacan was ruled collectively, by a council of powerful families rather than a single dynasty. It would explain the murals where processions of masked figures march side by side, equal in size. And no ruler is ever shown enthroned above the rest. There is a third reading. The tunnel was a stage, a place where rulers or priests descended into an artificial underworld, walking beneath metal stars, past lakes of shimmering mercury, and returned transformed, carrying authority up from the world below. Power drawn not from a bloodline, but from a journey. If so, the tunnel itself was the treasure. And sealing it was the final act of the performance. Whatever the truth, around the year 250, it ended. Torches moved down the corridor one last time. The offerings were arranged. The miniature world with its mercury lakes was left gleaming in the dark. Then the workers withdrew, wall by wall, boulder by boulder, closing 1,800 years of silence behind them. No record explains why. 3 centuries later, the city itself began to die. Around the mid-500s, its heart was burned. Monuments toppled, temples torched, statues smashed. in what some researchers read as foreign invasion and others as an uprising from within. The population drained away into the surrounding valleys. By the time the Aztecs arrived, only the pyramids remained, silent, nameless, and holding one sealed secret underground. One more entry belongs in this file. Half a world away, near Xi'an, China, another sealed chamber hides beneath a mound. The unopened tomb of the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Ancient chronicles describe rivers of mercury flowing inside it, and modern soil readings above the mound test far beyond natural mercury levels. Two civilizations, opposite sides of the planet, no possible contact, and the same silver river for the dead. That may be the tunnel's real message. Whoever the Teotihuacanos were, whatever language they spoke, however they were ruled, they looked into liquid mercury and saw what the Chinese emperor's builders saw: the shimmering boundary of another world. A city of 100,000 people made that idea real, then buried it, then vanished without leaving a name. So the mystery stands exactly where Sergio Gómez left his rope in 2003, hanging in the dark. A city of 100,000 people with no kings, a tunnel of 50,000 treasures with no burial, lakes of poisoned silver guarding chambers that may not be the end. The records are thorough, the facts are verified, and the trail stops at a sealed floor no one has opened. Yet,